On today's episode of Behind the Role, you'll be hearing from Ashley Lane, Country Manager for APAC Forbury at Altus Group. Ashley Lane has built his career across technology, advisory, and commercial real estate intelligence. He's got a lot to offer us today, particularly how real estate and technology intersect in today's market. So we hope you enjoyed today's episode. Ashley, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Great. I'm super excited to get into commercial real estate intelligence. What does that actually mean, and defining that for our viewers? But before we get into that, could you explain Altus Group? Who are they? What do they do? And how do they provide essentially the foundational backbone for the real estate industry?
We've got a number of different products around the market, but specifically here within the APAC region, we've got three core pieces of software that we're known for in this market. That's Argus Estate Master, which is for development feasibility, development management. We've got Forbury, which was an acquisition about 2.5 years ago, which is really at the for a stabilized asset. So a asset that isn't going through development, but for office, industrial, retail assets, for the valuation, acquisition, disposition of those assets. Those are our two core softwares in this region. We've then got Argus Enterprise, which is the global staple, I would say, equivalent to Forbury, but that is more so built for the US markets and the European markets, and also used up in Asia by a lot of the global funds. So those are our core technologies. And then we've got other technologies like a system called Taliance, which is for fund level consolidations and reporting. That's the core part of our business. So we've got a valuation management services, VMS business, and that is a business line that's in this region driven out of Singapore. And they work with a lot of the global institutions to basically work as an intermediary between the external valuation agents or appraisers, but also their end clients, be it the funds or the REITs. And they're not only experts in the valuation process, but also our technology and applying that together.
I'll ask about the particular software, specifically Forbury, as you're the country manager for Forbury.
Sure.
So could you delve into the components of Forbury, I guess, what clients, firms use this for?
Forbury has been in the market for about 10 years or so now. And in a nutshell, what Forbury is, it's an Excel interface valuation tool, cash flow forecasting tool for commercial real estate. That's what was built. We've then applied numerous pieces of technology to it, like an import tool to be able to take a tenancy schedule, drop it into the model, and it auto-inject the data in, but also taking the calculations out of Excel and putting that into a cloud calculator. So that way we can use the Excel interface, which is, everyone knows how to use Excel. You use it through school, university, like there's not a new piece of software you have to learn. So that's the beauty of our technology, Forbury. But we've actually been able to speed up the processing of Excel by taking those calculations external. But yeah, our model is used for acquisitions, ongoing investment management, divestments, external valuations, internal valuations, and that's across the core markets of office, industrial, retail. We've just actually launched a living sector model. So obviously multifamily co-living is a very emerging market in this region. It's certainly very big across Europe, Japan, and the US. So we've built a Forbury version of our models for the living sector for the US market, and we're just in the process of launching that here locally. But that's essentially what Forbury offers.
Amazing. And we might pivot to Estate Master. You mentioned developers use this. So how is that different to Forbury?
So yeah, in terms of Altus, we cover that life cycle of property, and Estate Master fits into that development phase. So you've got a piece of land and you want to develop that out, be it a commercial asset, an office, or a retail center, or a residential development. Estate Master is essentially your feasibility. So to build that feasibility, is this a feasible project that we want to undertake? And then it's also for the development management of that project. So everything up to completion is really where Estate Master fits. And then Forbury slots in once that project's complete. You're going to lease it up, you're going to own it, you're going to manage it, you're going to release some space, or you may divest. That's really where Forbury comes in. So that's that life cycle through development through to that hold phase.
Okay, amazing. And where does the intelligence platform sit in all of this?
Good question. The intelligence platform really is taking all of that asset level data and then being able to roll that up and present it and aggregate it. And that's really where we're headed with our Argus Intelligence platform. So a product like Forbury, which is the asset level models, to be able to take that data, very well structured, clean, concise data, and be able to aggregate it and present it in a platform that is intuitive, easy to use, but can offer you broader insights across your portfolios.
Yeah, great.
So the platform essentially will roll multiple assets into a portfolio, allow you to layer funding at a portfolio level, even get to the point of starting to benchmark. That might be across your existing portfolios or other funds, or external to the market. So we've actually got a product we've launched to the US, which is a benchmark product, which is in an opt-in basis, but it allows groups to start looking at their portfolio versus the broader market. But also you might be able to look at, or you can look at, an acquisition and see how that'll stack up to the performance of your current fund.
And typically, what do companies or clients use this data for? So you'd have a lot of face time, I'm assuming, in front of clients and the people who use these programs. Why is this data so significant to them?
Yeah, data is key to everyone's decision making. And I think up until the present day, a lot of groups have been inputting rich data into equivalent products to Forbury, but that data has been locked into those models, those financial models, and it's been very hard to get the data out and present it in a usable way. What our intelligence platform is allowing groups to do is start to really utilize that data, because people want, and they're very mindful about the level of information they're putting into each asset and each model. So say you manage a portfolio of 300 assets and you've got 50 tenants in each asset. That's a lot of tenant level data that is locked down in individual models. You want to be able to aggregate that data and start using those insights that you've got of your own data, but also if you can benchmark that against the broader market, suddenly you've got a lot more value out of the data that you own.
Yeah. And now that we've got a bit of an understanding of Altus Group, what they do, their products as well, I guess we'll segue to your career journey. So could you go all the way back to the beginning? Tell us what you studied, your career journey, and how that eventuated to your current role.
Okay. So I studied geography and environmental management.
Very different.
Yep. So I grew up in the UK, and I grew up in a place called North Devon. So it was coastal. I grew up on a beach. There are beaches in the UK and they are sandy. But I grew up surfing as a kid, and I love the water and I love surfing. Back when I was younger, there was limited internet and forecasting of surf conditions and waves. And I followed my passion, and I wanted to be able to read weather maps and weather conditions and really be able to predict where is going to be the best place to go surfing. And that's how I fell into studying geography and environmental management. I followed my passion. Might not have been the best career choice at the time, but that's where I went. So I studied through my A-levels and university. And then I finished university and I decided I didn't want to become a teacher in geography. I wanted to earn some money, and I wanted to earn some money fast. And I saw an advert for an opportunity, which they didn't explain what the role was, but there was just literally come for an interview, this date, this time, this place. So I went along, and there was about 100 other people. And I then realized it was an interview for real estate, residential real estate. And I was one of 100 going for 3 positions. I was lucky enough to get selected for the role. What attracted me to it was the opportunity to earn unlimited and a very, very quick career path. So I went into residential, and I was pretty good at it, I'd like to say. I did that for about 2 years straight out of university. And then one Saturday morning, I sold a house to a gentleman, and then he asked me if I'd come and work for him. And I said no. Why would I? I'm loving life. And he basically said, yeah, but what day of the week is it? And that's what really got me, is I was working my weekends. I didn't want to work my weekends anymore because I wanted to go surfing. And I wanted to live my passion. And it turned out he ran a recruitment business. So that's how I then basically fell into recruitment and moved into recruitment. So then I moved to London. I was working in recruitment for a number of years, placing financial controllers, CFOs. But I would always had this desire to move to Australia. And 2006, I moved to Australia. So I made the jump, came over. I joined a company in Australia, and so I was working in recruitment across the finance markets. Did that for quite a period of time, but then decided I wanted to move out of recruitment and move into basically the real estate sector. For the last 4 years of my career in recruitment, I'd basically been placing fund managers, transaction managers, investment managers across the commercial real estate space in Australia. So I built this phenomenal Rolodeck of real estate contacts. So yeah, I basically decided that I'm going to use those relationships and connections I've got, and I'm going to find a prop tech firm that need my Rolodeck and connections. Nobody wanted to hire me. Recruiters didn't want to talk to me. I didn't have software experience. I didn't have experience outside of recruitment, and it was a bit of a the belief was I didn't have the skill set relevant for the roles. So I took everything I knew, and that was how to position people into roles, how to find opportunities for people, and I applied that to myself. And so I approached groups directly, and I approached Forbury, and I contacted the CEO directly, and I said to him, this is me, this is my skill set, this is my background, this is my Rolodeck. I believe there's an opportunity within this business for someone like me, because I can see you're 12 people, you've gone through growth, you don't have anybody dedicated to sales, and I think there's a significant opportunity. Wow. His answer to me was, we feel that in the Australian market, we're somewhat capped out in terms of the addressable market, and we're looking at Asia and offshore. Turns out at the time there were about 60 clients in this region. We're now close to 250 in Australia alone. We've expanded into Asia. We're now in Europe, and we're in the US as well. They took a chance on me. I was able to really sell them, not only myself, but my understanding of the market was what they were lacking. They didn't fully understand the depth of the market and the opportunity in the market. And yeah, that's how I ended up where I am today.
You're amazing. What a great career journey.
Yeah, it's different. I think I just really applied everything I wanted to do. Like, I knew where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in Australia. I wanted the lifestyle. I wanted everything I had as a child in terms of surfing and the lifestyle, but I wanted to live in a city and work in a city. And I wanted a white collar job. I had a passion for real estate. I enjoy real estate as a tangible asset. And I knew I didn't want to be in recruitment anymore, but it was an opportunity for me to get where I needed to be and to build a market and a contact base that then I've been able to really utilize.
And you've seen quite a bit of the real estate industry, first starting with agency, then to recruitment. Is there something or a key takeaway that you've learned through all your time in the different roles in property?
I think the key is always relationships. I've met a lot of people through my career, a lot of people in the market, a lot of people that I would have met, let's say 10 or 12 years ago when I was placing, analysts, senior analysts into some of the funds within the market. Everyone is taking those career steps through the ladder. And those analysts, senior analysts, are now fund managers, senior fund managers. They're key decision makers in the market. So it's important to maintain and retain those relationships throughout your career, because as you progress with your own personal career, so do your connections and contacts in the market. That's probably my key takeaway that I've taken.
Yeah, and seeing those analysts, senior analysts, segue into being fund managers, are there any key attributes or qualities that kind of help them make that segue?
I think there's a lot of elements. It's being inquisitive, understanding the basics. If you look at our software and what we offer in terms of Forbury asset level modeling, we can all chuck a prompt into ChatGPT or Claude and, understand or get a response. But what groups are still looking for today is, can you back that up? Can you back it up with data and insights? Can you back it up with a financial model to actually show me how we're getting to X result? So I would say all of those people really understand the absolute foundation. It's like what we're doing. We've got the foundation level data, which is all the asset level data. And we're now bringing that together into our platform to aggregate it. So it's understanding the basics so that you can then present that sort of broader picture.
And you mentioned ChatGPT and Claude, which is something that I wanted to talk about today. With the rise of AI, are you seeing any differences in your day-to-day or just kind of progression to software in the future?
A lot of groups are asking us every day, what are Altus doing when it comes to AI? So there's almost a bit of a mandate across a lot of organizations to implement AI, but not necessarily know exactly where they're going to implement AI, what benefits they're going to get from it.
Okay.
So AI is, everyone's talking about it. You can't escape it right now. So we certainly use AI tools in-house. I mean, I use Copilot on a daily basis. It certainly helps with a lot of the work I do, creating those efficiencies. But I think it's always important to really understand the fundamentals, because otherwise you can get misguided by AI. So I think that's always the key. And that's really, where we're headed in terms of AI is plug here, Argus Assist, which is our AI tool that's built into our intelligence platform.
Okay.
So that is native to Argus. It's not an external AI tool. It's built into our platform. So that means we can control and manage the data that feeds into it. And also we can be sure about the answers that it's generating is based on our underlying calculations and engine, which is essentially Argus and Forbury.
Okay, and what are the things that Argus Assist will help with?
So our Argus Assist is basically built into our intelligence platform. That's where we're building that out. So you'd use Forbury or Argus Enterprise at the asset level to create a cash flow for an asset. That'll then get the data basically absorbed into the intelligence platform. So think of that as the interface to have your 100 assets all modeled, see them split into your portfolios or funds. Argus Assist is going to allow you to, in the same way you might use ChatGPT and put a basic prompt and it source through data that it has access to give you insights. Our Argus Assist,
Very specific as well.
very specific.
Yeah.
Because we have, the beauty is at the data level, we have that rich data in terms of those tenancies that you've loaded into each of the individual models. So the AI agent is going to be able to look into that level of data and see the insights and gather the insights and give you the
Really
answers.
interesting. So for the future, bit of a loaded question, but would you potentially see AI actually help shaping investment decisions, or just a bit of a backbone for individuals helping make those decisions?
I think there's some groups that will take it to the extent of probably leaning on AI to really inform those decisions. But I think most groups are going to be using it in conjunction to, really using their own insights that they're gathering from their own analytics. We've seen this technology advancement over the years. Some groups I used to pitch to 5-6 years ago, they would talk about their own internal model and being able to do a deal on the back of a beer mat, and you'll still hear that around the market. AI is just another step beyond the Excel or the model that people are creating to give another view, another opinion, but back it up with rich data. That's always the key. And I know I keep saying that, but the rich data that you've got at the asset level, if you can start sorting that, aggregating it and analyzing it, and then using that to gain insights, that's invaluable. That's the market differentiator, I believe.
Yeah, and I'd love to circle back, I guess, to when you were in your uni days or early career days, a piece of advice to students now who potentially want to follow the same career journey or get into the commercial real estate intelligence space.
Yep.
What piece of advice would you have for them, or any tips, insights that you have?
I think some of the key advice is always, and I've referenced this, but your network, build your network, retain your network. So that's not only your peers at university today who are going to go off into other groups around the market, but it's also getting out of your comfort zone to meet new people, to meet those senior analysts and fund managers, and how have they gotten to where they are in their career is really going to help you. Something about being humble as well. Everyone wants everything today. We're in a society where you can get whatever you want, whenever you want. In terms of your career, there is a bit of there's the stages you need to go through naturally in terms of learning the foundations and progression of your career. So whilst we all want to progress to the top very, very quickly, I think that's the one thing for certainly people I've hired over the years, is you have to really learn the basics. Get the basics grounded down, because once you've learned the basics and the foundation, then there's the opportunity really to start stepping up and taking more. But everyone wants to run very, very quickly. But the important part is get the walking piece bedded down.
I may ask about Altus Group and their current opportunities. So, are there
Yeah.
any internships or grad programs or events that you guys hold for early on career journey?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. In terms of if I explain our business here locally, and that'll sort of explain where some of the opportunities really sit.
Yeah, that's great.
So across the APAC region, we've got sales, marketing, account management, product management, software development. We have HR functions. So we really have all functions across a corporate entity. The entry level roles really into our Argus business, I would say, come through the analyst positions. And those analyst positions are working day to day in Excel financial models. So that's our core product that we license to the market. And it's understanding those products, enhancing those products, speaking to our external customers to understand their needs and demands, working with product teams, which are scoping new innovation and where the products are headed, looking at integrating these products together. Those analyst roles are really the foundation. And we've seen people across our business grow from analysts to be product managers, to be country heads, to senior analyst positions. It's really we've seen people go into software development from analysts. So it really is the foundational core of understanding our products, our customers, and our business.
And are there any opportunities for early on kind of career individuals to get into Altus Group?
Today, it would be through that analyst path.
Okay.
That's probably one of the hardest roles we find to hire within our business. I think a lot of analysts come to market or look for roles and they see the shiny lights of a Blackstone, a KKR, or a LaSalle, not necessarily the shiny lights of working in software. But I would debate they get access to Blackstone and LaSalle's and KKR. They get access to those customers, those clients. They get to work with them. They get to help those groups in terms of their modeling and building out models for those groups that they're going to use. So whilst you're not making the physical investment decisions that they might be making, you're certainly the underlying backbone in terms of the modeling that they would use.
And are there certain skills or qualities you look out for the analysts that you're taking on board?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, smarts and analytics, but it's the soft skills, it's the people skills, it's the ability to speak to senior decision makers in those global funds, being able to sit on those calls and ask probing questions to really understand their process. That's certainly a skill that we look for from those analysts. Whilst that isn't day one from those analyst roles, that really is when you get into product management. But we look for our analysts to be able to grow into those roles where they can sit in senior meetings with leaders across our client base who are making investment decisions and challenge them on their process, procedure, so that we can really learn about how to evolve our products to better address their needs.
Okay, and we've spoken a lot about what day-to-day life looks like for an analyst at your company. So could we segue back to your role and talk about what day-to-day looks like for you?
Yeah. My day-to-day is pretty varied and encompasses everything from prospecting. So I still like to be on the tools. And this is where I say, like, back to the basics. My first job in real estate was prospecting and trying to get people to list their houses for sale or buy a house. Still today, I prospect, and that is trying to get groups to engage with us, to want to buy or consider our software. So I still prospect because that keeps me grounded and it keeps me connected to the market and really understanding what the market's saying and what the objections may be. I meet with a lot of our customers. So we, as I said, we've got 240 customers in Australia alone. Some of those big global institutions, meeting with a lot of those customers and educating them on our roadmap and where our products are headed and ensuring that they're comfortable and happy with everything we're doing on the back end as well. I've got a team that works with me across account management and the origination of new. So training and developing a team. Working with our product team, getting them into the right seats at the right tables to fully understand the scope of what's required from our products, but also identifying new markets that we're going to go into. So really partnering with those product teams to take them to the conversation so that we can scope and build a better product for a market. strategy across entry into new markets. As we launched Forbury up into the UK, heavily involved in that, but also into the US and certainly into Asia. How are we going to be able to enter those markets? What products should we take? Working with marketing about messaging and communications and why are people buying? Why aren't they clicking? Whatever it may be.
A lot of hats to wear for you.
A lot of hats. It's very broad and diverse, but it's everything from at the ground level, trying to originate new opportunities, to making strategic decisions about where we're going to focus the business, and also ensuring my role is basically communicating to our customers about what we're doing as a business, and why you should be trusting us with or you should be utilizing our tools and services across the market. And likewise, communicating back to the Altus Group about the importance of this region and why further investment into this region is so important.
Yeah, and how have you found that career adjustment, starting off from agency and recruitment, focusing a lot on other people's careers, to now you being up on the stage pitching to other people for products? How have you found that adjustment?
Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I like residential real estate. It's a great role, but it's probably, way down the bottom of the food chain, and nobody likes residential real estate agents. So I would say I was pretty happy to get out of that one. One run up, I would say, is recruitment. And, bottom of the food chain is certainly used cars, and I never went there. But recruitment is another one of those industries which is tarnished with a reputation and a stigma. But I kind of got to a point with recruitment where I wanted to control the product that I was pitching and selling. And if you're pitching and selling a person, they can tell you one thing, but right at the last minute, when they've got that offer on the table, they might just change their mind and deflect and not take that role. So I wanted to be able to control that, and a piece of software won't turn around and say, no, I'm not going to, I don't want to be used by Blackstone, for example. I keep referencing Blackstone, but so a piece of software wouldn't do that. So for me, that was kind of the path, is controlling the variables through the sales process, because essentially my core skill set has always been within sales. And I've just looked for a pathway to be able to control some of those variables. And through software and the right product, I can control the variables because I know my product and I know my product works. And if I can get that in front of the right people, which is what my job is essentially, get it in front of the right people and get it retained with the right people, then I know that it's going to be successful.
Amazing. Well, Ash, thank you so much. I've learned so much today, and
That's
I'm
okay.
sure our viewers will too. Now, we're starting a new thing. At the end of every video, we'll be asking what the interviewee's favourite building is.
Okay.
So what is your favourite building? It can be in the city, it can be any sector, and can you tell us why?
Okay. My favourite building, I'm not going to tell you which building it is.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a description and a few hints, and I guess for anyone who's watching, first three right answers, we'll give them an Altus goodie bag. We've got socks, phone chargers.
Oh, great.
So this building, I actually worked in this building. It was my first job in Australia. And if you need to work out what that is, well, there's a thing called LinkedIn. Have a look and you'll see my first job in Australia. That company aren't in that building anymore. So they're now based in One Martin Place. But this building, it's a good memory for me. I was there for about 4 years. It's been through a pretty significant refurbishment. Downstairs, the food court. It's got a food court below, so that will help narrow it down to a few key assets. The food court below has been through a pretty decent refurb, but there's one coffee shop that's always been in there. That's called Deliciosa. And they probably do the best Vegemite on Turkish that I've found in Sydney. And most times when I travel down to Sydney, you'll find me in there around 8:30, 9 in the morning, getting my Turkish toast with Vegemite.
Wow.
The landlords is Dexus, but that's probably some decent hints and tips, I would say. But yeah, first three, we'll get some goodie bags out to them.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. We'll see the comments rolling in and we'll keep in touch for the goodie bags.
Perfect.
But I've learnt so much today, and thanks for the chat.
No problems. All good. Thank you.